Good evening. It's Thursday, or Friday, or Saturday, America. Good evening, or good morning, or whatever time it is where you are when you press play on this. Because I know a lot of you are watching at 2 a.m. because you can't sleep. And you can't sleep because of things like this, which I'm about to tell you about. So that's probably going to make it worse. I apologize in advance. Welcome to a week so dense, so layered, so spiritually exhausting that I'm going to need you to take a deep breath right now. Go ahead. Big breath. In, out. Good. That's probably the last moment of peace you're going to get for 15 minutes. Here is everything that happened in 1 week. 1 week. We had a man who runs a building called the Donald J. Trump U.S. Institute of Peace. That's a real building name. Launch a group called the Board of Peace. That's a real group name. While simultaneously suggesting he might bomb Iran. That's a real threat. Within 10 days, all in the same speech, at the same podium, peace, with a 10-day countdown to bombing, in a building with his name on it, that he named himself. That's called a vibe. We had a Black History Month reception at the White House. 2 weeks after the President of the United States shared a video depicting the first Black president as an ape. We had the Attorney General of the United States last week, Pam Bondi, who we covered, refusing to turn and face Epstein survivors at a congressional hearing. And now, the billionaire who bankrolled Epstein's rise set before Congress this week and said, and this is his real answer, he was conned. Conned by Jeffrey Epstein, the man he employed, housed, and provided a personal jet to for over a decade. Conned. The word is conned. And just to keep things interesting, a partial government shutdown, FEMA workers pulled from disaster zones, Iran, 2 aircraft carriers, and a 10-day deadline. Let's go through it together, like a family, a deeply dysfunctional family watching the same reality show about a country. On February the 19th, 2026, President Trump convened the inaugural meeting of his Board of Peace. 40 countries were represented. Saudi Arabia was there. Indonesia was there. The head of FIFA was there. The World Soccer Federation, yes, because nothing says Middle East peace process like the guy who runs the World Cup. The head of FIFA at a diplomatic summit about Gaza. Sir, respectfully, what are your credentials for this? Well, have organized tournaments in 32 countries. Okay. You know what? Keep talking. Trump opened his remarks by talking about, in this order, the U.S. stock market, World Cup ticket sales, and how much he loves that the building is now named after him, for nearly 30 minutes before mentioning Gaza. It's a tremendous honor to welcome you all to the United States Institute of Peace for the inaugural meeting of the Board of Peace, Trump said. Then, I believe it's the most consequential board. There's never been anything close because these are the greatest world leaders. The most consequential board. He's seen great corporate boards, great boards of all kinds, peanuts, he said. Peanuts compared to this board. The board of peace makes every other board look like a book club. Okay, fine. What did the board actually do? Real question, real answer. 9 countries: Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, UAE, Morocco, Bahrain, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Uzbekistan, Kuwait. Pledged $7 billion for Gaza reconstruction. The U.S. pledged $10 billion. 5 countries committed troops to an international stabilization force: Indonesia, Morocco, Kazakhstan, Kosovo, Albania. Indonesia's president said his country would send up to 8,000 troops. Total pledges so far, $17 billion. Total estimated needed to rebuild the Gaza, $70 billion. So they've got about 24 cents on the dollar. They're about where you are after paying rent. But listen, former UK Prime Minister Tony Blair called Trump's 20-point plan the best, indeed the only hope for Gaza, the region, and the wider world. Tony Blair said that. The man who helped start the Iraq War called this the best plan, which is either the strongest endorsement possible or the most alarming sentence in recent memory. Depends on your perspective. And then, right as the Board of Peace was concluding its inspiring first meeting, Trump told the reporters the world would know within 10 days whether the U.S. is taking military action against Iran. We may have to take a step further, he said, or we may not. Peace. With a countdown clock. That's the vibe. That's the board. Let's be direct about Iran for a moment, because I think the casual tone with which this is being discussed is underappreciated. The United States currently has 2 aircraft carrier strikes groups positions in the Middle East. CNN sources said this week that the military is prepared to strike Iran as soon as this weekend. Trump set a 10-day deadline from February the 19th. That's a countdown to, at minimum, a decision on whether the United States bombs a nation of 90 million people. Iran responded by saying Trump's remarks suggest a real risk of military aggression. Iran is not wrong to think that. 2 aircraft carriers and a public 10-day timer suggest exactly that. Now, his own envoys Witkoff and Kushner are simultaneously in Geneva doing nuclear negotiations with Iran. So we're negotiating and we've set a countdown. It's like a pizza delivery that has also a bomb in it. Diplomatically speaking, the kicker? Trump told the Board of Peace he'd bombed Iran's nuclear sites last year. As a brag, at a peace summit, the Gaza ceasefire wouldn't have happened without the U.S. and Israel bombing Iran's nuclear sites, he said, at the Board of Peace, the Peace Board, where peace is discussed. He said, bombing at the Peace Board. I want you to appreciate that he mentioned bombing as a preamble to peace, as a success story, at a board called Peace. This is the energy. 2 weeks ago on February the 6th at 11:44 p.m., while most of America was asleep, the President of the United States posted a video on Truth Social. The video, according to every news outlet that covered it, depicted Barack and Michelle Obama as apes, set to "The Lion Sleeps Tonight" and wrapped in election conspiracy content at 11:44 p.m. The White House initially said, and I want you to hear this, that the video depicted Trump as the king of the jungle and Democrats as characters from The Lion King. That was for the fans. And Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said, "Please stop the fake outrage and report on something today that actually matters to the American public." The fake outrage about the aid video, this was the message: fake outrage. Senator Tim Scott, the only black Republican senator, posted praying it was fake because it's the most racist thing I've seen out of this White House. The only black Republican senator said that about the White House he helped elect. Eventually, a White House staffer was blamed. The video was deleted. Trump, when asked if he'd apologize, said, "No, I didn't make a mistake," and then added, "I am, by the way, the least racist president you've had in a long time." Least racist president in a long time, said by a man who just deleted an ape video of Barack Obama at 11:44 p.m. Self-reporting has never been less reliable. Obama responded. He said, and this is not a paraphrase of his YouTube interview, "There doesn't seem to be any shame anymore among people who used to feel like they had to have some decorum." And then, 11 days later, the White House hosted this Black History Month reception. Trump did not mention the video, did not mention Barack Obama. He did mention Mike Tyson, who defended him against racism accusations, and Nicki Minaj, whose skin he called so beautiful, while also commenting extensively on her fingernail length. He complimented a black woman's skin and fingernails at Black History Month, instead of talking about, I don't know, Black history. In the same week he posted the ape video, he put out a true social tribute to the Reverend Jesse Jackson, who passed away Tuesday, and said he'd been falsely and consistently called a racist by scoundrels and lunatics. The Jesse Jackson tribute was primarily about Donald Trump's feelings about being called a racist. Jesse Jackson, civil rights giants, 84 years of organizing, marching, running for president, fighting for voting rights, gone. And the tribute was about how unfairly Donald Trump has been treated. Jesse Jackson would have had thoughts about that. Many, many thoughts. The Epstein saga, which has been reported last week, featured Attorney General Pam Bondi redacting everything useful while accidentally publishing victim names, continued this week when Wexner appeared before the White Oversight Committee. Les Wexner is the billionaire founder of L Brands, Victoria's Secret, Bath and Body Works, who was Epstein's primary financial patron for over a decade. He gave Epstein a Manhattan townhouse. He gave him a private plane. He gave him power of attorney. He gave him access to young women who worked in his modeling and retail networks. This week, under questioning, Wexner said he was conned by Jeffrey Epstein. He denied knowledge of sex trafficking. Democrats said he appeared to be minimizing an extraordinarily close relationship. Conned. He was conned. The most expensive con in history. A Manhattan townhouse, a private jet, a decade of access and power. and the word is conned. I have been conned at a farmer's market into buying $14 olive oil. That's a con. What Wexner is describing is something a jury would be asked to evaluate. Meanwhile, the Vatican officially declined to join Trump's Board of Peace this week. The White House called this deeply unfortunate. The Vatican did not elaborate. The Vatican simply did not come to the board. The Pope looked at the Board of Peace, read the invite, and said, "We're good, actually." When the Vatican declines your peace summit, that's a sign. I don't know what sign exactly, but it's a sign. Papal sign? Signed by the Pope. All right, I've been doing bits for 11 minutes or so, and I need to put the bit down for a second and talk to you straight. The partial government shutdown that started this week because Senate Democrats and Republicans can't agree on DHS funding has one more consequence that I keep thinking about. FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, was ordered to suspend the deployment of hundreds of aid workers to disaster zones across the United States while the shutdown continues. There are people in this country right now in flood zones, in burn areas, in places that need federal support who are getting less of it this week because Congress can't agree. And that story is on page 12 because pages 1 through 11 are about the Board of Peace and the Abe video. Page 12. FEMA workers pulled from disasters. Page 1. Soccer fields in Gaza. I'm not saying one is more important than the other. I'm saying both are happening simultaneously on your tax dollar. And one is getting the spotlight and one is in the back of the paper. Here's what I want you to hold on to as you go about your Friday or Saturday. These are the facts, stated plainly without the comedy. The President of the United States shared a video depicting a black former president as an ape at midnight and then hosted a Black History Month party lasting 2 weeks later without mentioning it. The Attorney General of the United States told the Congress there is a secret list of domestic terrorists she won't share with them. The country is partial shutdown away from having no funded disaster relief agency. And the man who just launched a Board of Peace told that board he bombed someone's nuclear sites as a warm-up story. And somewhere in Geneva, two American envoys are trying to negotiate a nuclear deal with Iran. And we have 10 days. Here's the all-American truth. We have always been a country of contradictions. We declared all men equal while enslaving people. We preached freedom while building empires. We've always been two things at once. The Board of Peace and the countdown to bombing. The Black History Month party and the deleted Abe video. What's different now isn't the contradiction. What's different is the speed, the sheer daily volume of it, the sense that there's no moment to reckon with one thing before the next thing arrives. The Board of Peace is meeting while FEMA stands down. Epstein survivors are in hearing rooms while billionaires say they were conned. The Pope didn't come to the summit. The head of FIFA did. None of that is a bit. All of it is the news. And the news is, as always, your responsibility, not mine. Not the algorithms, yours. If you made it this far, subscribe if you want, or don't. Genuinely, go call your representative instead. Tell them about page 12. Tell them FEMA needs to be funded. Tell them the secret list concerns you. Tell them something. America doesn't fix itself. It gets fixed, or it doesn't. by people who refused to let a week go by without being annoyed by it. Be annoyed. It's a start. See you next week, or just tomorrow, or just later on, when something else completely normal will have happened.